Hello, I'm Bryce.
And I'm Ben.
Today we're here at Prairieland Dairy in Firth, Nebraska, talking with the general manager, Dan Rice. First, can you share a little bit about the background of your farming operation?
Prairieland Dairy was formed in year 2000 when my wife and I and our 4 children came from Pennsylvania to dairy with the Obing brothers. We all put our cows together to gain efficiencies of scale and also to offer opportunities for the next generation. Currently we milk 1,400 cows, and in 2005 we brought in 2 neighboring partners, and that got us to the size that we are today. We also operate 2 other businesses here as well.
As I understand, Prairieland Dairy consists of a 3-pronged business plan: Prairieland Dairy, Prairieland Gold, and Prairieland Foods. Can you go into a little bit more detail about each one of those?
Yeah, the reason for the 3 companies is because we look at the dairy cow and say she gives us 3 things. We call them the 3 M's: meat, milk, and manure. And so we have 3 companies to market those to the best of our ability. The meat is marketed through Prairieland Foods. The milk is marketed through Prairieland Foods. Prairieland Gold is our company that we set up to get rid of to manufacture and sell our manure products. So those are the 3 companies: Prairieland Dairy, Prairieland Foods, and Prairieland Gold.
How does your compost process work?
The composting process is we just use the cow's natural ability to break things down. We call this the farm of bugs. When we feed the cow, we feed the bugs in the cow's rumen, and she gives us manure, and we feed the bugs in the manure to make compost. And that process is one of monitoring the recipe that we use to make. We start off with making a certain recipe to make the compost, and then we monitor the oxygen, the moisture, and the temperature of those rows on a daily basis, and we turn the compost whenever those things get out of balance. So we're constantly keeping the bugs alive and feeding them.
How are your cows raised?
Our cows are born on the farm here. We have somebody that monitors the calving cows 24 hours a day. After the cow has birth to the baby calf, it is then given colostrum, and it stays here for the first 3 months of life. And after that, we wean her off of milk, and she goes to a partnering dairy in Beatrice, and down there we raise the baby calves up until they're freshening, or till about a month before they freshen, and they come back here to the dairy after to have their calf, and then begin their life as a milk cow.
How do you ensure animal welfare?
Animal welfare is very important to a dairy like ours that is trying to market our own products, and we have a very open door here. So we want to assure that we at all times are caring for our cows the best that we possibly can. And the way we assure that is through training. We have weekly training with all of our employees, and we continually emphasize that good handling and good management practices with those cows. We also assure that through a third-party audit process, that a third party comes in and audits us and makes sure that our practices are very humane and sustainable. And we also work with a local veterinarian that helps us put the protocols together as well.
What is included in the cow's typical daily feed ration?
A dairy cow eats about 75% of her diet as roughage, so hay and corn silage are our 2 main ingredients. We also feed a byproduct out of the corn sweetener industry called Sweet Bran, which is a corn gluten feed. That's our 3rd major product that we feed. And then we also have hay, corn, and soybean meal. And then of course all the micronutrients that the cow needs as well.
What makes your products all natural?
The all natural label in the dairy industry really shows that we don't use artificial hormones to produce milk, and any ingredients that we might use in either our ice cream or our chocolate milk or strawberry milk comes from an all natural source and is not raised with any type of antibiotics or hormones. We do use antibiotics here with the cows when they get sick, but we have a stringent process that does not allow any of that milk to get into the milk supply for human consumption.
What do you do when a cow's milk production slows, and how long does a cow typically stay in your herd?
A dairy cow in their year, a life in a year of a dairy cow is she milks for 10 months out of the year, and she goes dry for 2 months. So we always say she takes a vacation for 2 months out of the year. And that 2 months is right before she has a calf. So the life of a dairy cow, when you say she doesn't milk as much, what we do is we dry her off and get her prepared for the next calf. A dairy cow, in order to keep her producing, she has to become pregnant every year. So when she no longer becomes pregnant, just as humans at some point no longer cycle reproductively, then she's no longer able to milk and produce as a dairy cow. So at that point, she becomes a meat producer for us, and she goes into the meat supply. That typically on this farm is 4 years.
Will you explain how the milking parlor technology works?
Our milking parlor is very computerized, and we monitor every cow. Wears a computer on her ankle, and we monitor milk production, we monitor how many steps she takes, and we monitor conductivity, which is a measure of the quality of the milk. We use those 3 parameters to manage our cows. We do all of our artificial breeding off of that information, and we also monitor health care.
What kinds of tasks are expected of the workforce, and what kind of schedule do they operate on?
We rely heavily on a very talented workforce here, and their schedule is very demanding of them. We work 12-hour days, typically 6 on and 2 off. The dairy does operate 24/7. We started operating in 2000, and we've not shut our milking parlor down ever since. So it's a 365, 7-day-a-week operation, and it's very demanding of our employees, and they're very talented and very skilled, and we put a lot of effort into training them.
What sort of labor goes into monitoring and maintaining the machinery?
The equipment on this dairy farm is very specialized, and there's not a lot of them around the country. So we rely heavily on our employees to be trained and to take care of our machinery and our milking system. The system that we have was made in Israel, so we do a lot of online training with Israel.
How does your water filtration system work?
Milk is 89% water, so water is very important to our cows and very important to this dairy, and high quality water as well. So we have a water treatment system that filters out any impurities in the water before it gets fed to the cows, and we also use that water 4 times before we eventually gets used as irrigation on our fields. And we like to talk about sustainability and how we use our water 4 times before we actually spread it on our fields, and I can talk about that later.
What are some of your strategies for maintaining the waste?
On this dairy, our waste management strategy is zero waste philosophy. We don't want to waste any nutrient that our cows give us, and we strive to use them in specific ways that benefit either a crop or the dairy in some way.
How is the milk processed?
Our milk goes to our own processing plant, and it leaves the cow, gets cooled down instantly, and as soon as we have 6,000 gallons, which is a full tanker truck, it takes us about 12 hours to get 6,000 gallons. At that time, it leaves the dairy and goes to our processing plant, and it's immediately separated. We separate the fat out from the skim milk. So at that point we have skim milk and we have cream basically, and then from that we blend back to make skim milk 1%, 2%, and whole milk. Once we have it standardized into those butterfat levels, we then go through a homogenizer and a pasteurizer, and then the bottling process. The homogenizer actually puts pressure, 2,000 pounds of pressure on the milk, and what that does is break up the fat globulins so that we don't get get the milk separating and have that cream layer on the top. It really does not affect the milk at all, but it just keeps it from separating. The pasteurization process kills any bacteria that might be in the milk. We actually heat the milk up to 160 degrees for 30 seconds, and then we cool it down immediately. From there, it goes on to the bottle, and we put it in everything from pints to gallons.
What are your typical markets?
Our markets for our dairy products are local. We market to Lincoln and Omaha, and we really try to market through grocery stores mainly, and that's just so that we can move large volumes of milk. Our goal is to move 12,000 gallons of milk every day, so we have to move that volume, and we try to do that through the grocery stores. On our compost side, our markets there are mainly landscape developers. They will take our compost and mix it with maybe a topsoil or something else and make specialty products for landscapers.
How is Prairieland Dairy involved in the community?
We're one of the largest employers in the community, and we take that very seriously. So we feel it's our responsibility to be involved in the community because our employees live and work here, live and work in the community. So we're very active in the community, and we try to participate whenever they have an event. We also host a lot of tours here. We get about 15,000 people that come through the dairy every year on tours, and we try to educate them about agriculture and about where their milk comes from. And we also have a big dairy open house every year to celebrate June Dairy Month, and we get in one day we get about 5,000 people here, and again, it's just an educational process and to embrace the community.
What is the most challenging thing about Prairieland Dairy?
I think every year there's a different challenge for us. Recently has been cost of inputs and with the higher feed prices, it's been extremely challenging, but that'd probably be the most challenging thing currently, yes.
Which aspects of the dairy are you most passionate about?
I'm most passionate about our compost operation because I see that as a great way to displace things from the landfill, and I think there's a great opportunity in the near future and a lot of interest in that. So I'm really excited about the opportunities that we see in the compost side of our business.
What is your philosophy of Prairieland Dairy?
Philosophy behind Prairieland Dairy is one of cooperation. We were formed on a lot of four small dairies coming together to work as one, and we continue to form those partnerships as we move forward, whether it's with our suppliers or people that we work with neighbors. As I said, in our compost operation, we're continuing to partner with hospitals, schools, those types of things to improve our environment and displace things from the landfill.
How do you see conditions changing in the future?
The dairy industry is changing. We're getting more consolidation all the time. We're getting larger farms, more specialized farms, and we feel at Prairieland Dairy that we can carve out a niche in local marketing, and that's kind of what we've tried to do here in marketing to the Lincoln area.
What do you plan to do to become more sustainable?
Sustainability, in my mind, is how we do things, and are we doing things right for the environment, and also are we going to sustain this farm into the future. That's one of the main reasons that Prairieland Dairy was formed, so that we can have opportunities for the next generation. And I think through our partnering with and forming 3 companies here, no matter what talent and passion somebody has, we can find a niche for them here at Prairieland, whether it's in marketing, whether it's in accounting, or whether it's working with their hands and working with cows or maintenance or whatever. We provide a lot of different opportunities for people, and that's going to sustain this dairy into the next generations.
What things are you doing on your farm that you would describe as sustainable?
As I said, I think the most sustainable thing we do is our composting. Every product that we get out of the cows, we try to use the best that we can. We use our water, as I said, 4 times. We cool the milk with the water. We then use that water to water the cows. We then use it to flush our barns, and then we use it for irrigation. So our water usage is a great picture of sustainability. We use the heat that we get off of the milk to heat the milking parlor for the cows. So that's another great sustainable story that we do here. And then using our manure as a way to break down different kind of food waste and different kind of waste streams that are biodegradable in our compost operation is a great sustainability story as well.
What do you plan to change to become more sustainable?
In the future, our ultimate goal here is to generate our own electricity off of the gas from the manure that the cows produce. That's something that we're looking at very seriously right now, and we'll use that gas then to power the dairy, power our processing plant, and we'll also use that to heat all of our homes and the dairy itself.